Namaskar viewers and listeners of the Great Game Reloaded. I am Tilak Divesha. Barely had the guns fallen silent on the Afghan-Pak border when a water war has started brewing between Pakistan and Afghanistan. Last week, the Taliban Supreme Leader Haibatullah Akhundzada ordered the immediate construction of multiple dams on the Kunar River. As a follow-up, Afghanistan's acting water minister Mullah Abdul Latif Mansoor announced on social media, quote, "Afghans have the right to control their own rivers. These waters belong to our people," unquote. This sent Islamabad into a panic. Pakistan called this hostile. In episode 2, I had detailed how from being a water-abundant country in 1951, Pakistan today is a water-scarce one and heading towards absolute water scarcity or drought-like conditions in parts of the country. The key reason is the gross management of its water resources and population growing at 2.55%. Any further reduction in water availability, either from India or from Afghanistan, would be catastrophic because it could have cascading effects across Pakistan's agricultural and energy sectors. If Kabul proceeds with the dams, Pakistan could face a dual squeeze on its rivers from India in the east and Afghanistan in the west. Interestingly, the issue of dams on the Kunar River is not new. However, Afghanistan has neither had the determination nor the wherewithal to build a dam till now. For Pakistan, this isn't happening in isolation. It is a sequel to what India did earlier this year in April after the Pakistan-sponsored Pahalgam terror attack by holding the Indus Waters Treaty in abeyance. Prime Minister Narendra Modi had asserted, and I quote, "Blood and water cannot flow together," unquote. And now Kabul seems to agree. It is following suit, borrowing from India's playbook, seeking to limit Pakistan's access to water flowing through its territories, using water as leverage just months after Indian action. Now, the Kunar is an interesting river. It is known as the Chitral River in Pakistan and originates from the Chiantar Glacier near Gilgit-Baltistan Chitral border. It flows into Afghanistan at Arandu before merging with the Kabul River in Nangarhar province. It then re-enters Pakistan and eventually joins the Indus River near Attock in Pakistan. This network is vital for irrigation, hydropower and drinking water across Pakistan's Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and Punjab provinces. But here's the catch. There is no treaty between Pakistan and Afghanistan on sharing these waters. Zero. None. So far, Afghanistan had allowed the waters of the combined Kunar-Kabul rivers to flow freely into Pakistan. For decades, the two neighbors relied on goodwill and geography. That trust has now evaporated, and Afghanistan says, "Why should we let our water flow away for free?" Lack of a water-sharing treaty is what Taliban are taking advantage of. Let's rewind a bit. In 1948, India stopped water to Pakistan for 6 weeks because Pakistan did not pay for the water it had contracted for. It almost led to war. 12 years later, in 1960, India and Pakistan signed the Indus Waters Treaty, one of the world's most successful water-sharing agreements, brokered by the World Bank. But Afghanistan? No water-sharing agreement was signed between Afghanistan and Pakistan. In fact, Kunar-Kabul is not the only river the two countries share. They share 9 rivers: Kabul, Kunar, Gomal, Kurram, Pishin Lora, Kandhar Kand, Kadani, Abdul Wahad Stream and Kaisar. But there is no formal water-sharing agreement between Islamabad and Kabul on any of those rivers. Repeat, none. So Afghanistan is technically free to build what it wants, where it wants, on its side of the border. But why now? For two reasons. The relations between the two countries have deteriorated sharply in recent months, with Islamabad accusing Kabul of harboring the Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan or TTP militants responsible for attacks inside Pakistan. Afghanistan, in turn, accuses Pakistan of violating its sovereignty by carrying out air attacks. Then, Afghanistan's needs have grown. The Taliban want electricity and water for development and agriculture. That's where the Kunnar Dam comes in. They've already dug half of the Kosh-Tepa Canal that draws water from the Amu Darya in the north of Afghanistan. In 2021, India signed an agreement for building the Shatut Dam on the Maidan River, a tributary of the Kabul. It is a $236 million project to provide water to 2 million residents of Kabul. Together, these projects have the potential to generate large quantities of hydroelectric power that would be a big boost for Afghanistan's economy. But Pakistan doesn't see it as Afghanistan's need for irrigation and electricity. Pakistan says it's about intimidation, about starving Pakistan of water. This is no longer a bilateral issue. It is trilateral: India, Pakistan and Afghanistan. India built the Salma Dam in Herat. It is building the Shatut Dam near Kabul, and now it is quietly offering technical support for Afghanistan's Kunnar project. India's strategy is simple. It sees the dams as people-friendly, as are all of its other projects. In the process, however, with the headwaters of the Indus system being controlled from both sides, India and Afghanistan, Pakistan fears that it could get starved of water and further deteriorate its precarious water situation. India's alignment with Afghanistan's river projects is a masterstroke, exploiting Pakistan's water dependency. If Afghanistan completes its planned network of dams over the next couple of years, Pakistan's water inflow from the Kabul basin could drop substantially. That would cripple agriculture in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and Punjab and ignite a new flashpoint on an already volatile frontier. And Pakistan fears that this pincer may make it run dry. So what's Pakistan doing about it? For the moment, they are complaining. According to the Pak Foreign Office spokesman, and I quote, "Unilateral construction on shared rivers is unacceptable. We demand consultations under international law," unquote. But international law is silent here. Unlike the Indus Treaty with India, no framework binds Kabul to share or notify projects with Islamabad. Ultimately, Pakistan would have to engage in dialogue with Afghanistan on this issue. Would the Taliban oblige? They would probably extract their pound of flesh. No more airstrikes on Afghan territory on the pretext of targeting TTP militants. The last time Pakistan did this, in October, the Taliban retaliated across the Durand Line, killing Pakistani soldiers and seizing border posts. Qatar and Turkey had to intervene to get the two countries to agree to a ceasefire. So now, in response to Pak airstrikes, the Taliban have opened another front: the rivers. In Islamabad's view, this is nothing less than water warfare. If Afghanistan partially blocks or diverts the Kunnar River, it could choke water supply to Pakistan's northwest, hitting agriculture, electricity and drinking water. For the Taliban, this is the only way to defend themselves against Pakistan's use of air power. Afghanistan says Kunnar is a small dam. Yes, the Kunnar Dam is small. It won't stop all water, just regulate it. But the political message behind it? Massive. But Islamabad sees things differently. It fears water scarcity because of its own dwindling water resources. Without treaties, every dam feels like a threat. Meanwhile, Pakistan's stoppage of border trade with Afghanistan following the recent clashes has adversely affected the availability of fresh vegetables in Pakistan. While politicians trade threats, ordinary people are paying the price. When the border closed last week, fresh produce from Kabul stopped arriving in Pakistan. Tomatoes that cost rupees 100 now sell for 500. Prices of grapes, pomegranates, onions have all shot up. A border war could well become a food war, and a food war, if not resolved, can quickly hurt ordinary people, especially if there is a reduction in water flows. So what happens next? Let's imagine two futures. In an ideal world, Pakistan and Afghanistan sign a water sharing agreement. They set limits, coordinate releases, manage droughts. Everyone wins. In a realistic world, Afghanistan goes ahead with the dam. Pakistan retaliates. The rivers become a weapon. Agriculture is affected in Pakistan. And South Asia enters an era of water wars. Which future do you think is more likely? Flashback to India-Pakistan water disputes. But that was when diplomacy worked. Today, diplomacy is not particularly strong, and distrust flows deeper than the rivers themselves. Afghanistan says it is securing its future. Pakistan says it is being strangled. And India? Well, India is watching with a quiet smile. Pakistan must pause and ask itself a fundamental question. Why are both its neighbors alienated simultaneously? Perhaps when its leaders do some soul searching, they will come up with an answer. Meanwhile, India's strategic outreach to the Taliban is reshaping South Asia's hydropolitics. Water is the new instrument. By aligning with Kabul, India isolates Pakistan from both flanks, east and west. And as the Taliban accelerate construction plans, the Kunnar River may soon become not just a symbol of Afghanistan's independence, but the next flashpoint in South Asia's escalating hydropolitics. I am Tilak Divesha. Thank you for watching. Do like, share and comment. Namaskar and Jai Hind.